Hello again, golfers, and welcome to the 16th episode of Inside the Ropes, a deeply personal journey with Scottie Walnuts, a PGA Tour 2K25 course showcase series. I'm your host, Scottie Walnuts, and today we're checking out our second retteach course of the series, Shankshaw Ridge. Just a reminder that we film these episodes live on Twitch every Tuesday night beginning at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you're very welcome to join us live on Tuesday nights, and the link for that is below in the description. So we opened the course showcase series with a retteach course, and here we are back again with a brand new one. Stick with me here because the lore of this course is deep, and we're going to read the designer's write-up of it in his own words via the TGC completed courses thread forum. So here's what it says. Shankshaw Ridge is a golfer's dream that came about as a result of bad luck and the misfortune of both a few and many. Located in the southeastern corner of Kentucky, snuggled close to the Cumberland Mountains as part of the Appalachians, the property that now offers Shankshaw Ridge for golfers to enjoy came about by sheer accident. With Kentucky thriving on its history of world-renowned bourbon dating back to its establishment in the 1780s, the Prohibition movement of the 1920s brought the entire bourbon business to a screeching halt, closing most of the distilleries in the entire state. Smaller illegal bootlegging camps combined with wild tobacco cropped up through the Kentucky backroads throughout the state. With the end of Prohibition around 1933, the state reclaimed much of these run-down areas through expropriation, and thus Shankshaw Ridge came into existence. The old abandoned tobacco and distillery can be seen on the upper hills above Shankshaw. Its oldest surviving playing member, Hector Divitz, at 105 years old, still tells the story of back in the day in his prime as a young, talented amateur. He used the three smokestacks in the distance as his aiming marker on two of the par fives, numbers 8 and 13, to carve two perfect baby fades using his brassy, his two-wood, and eagling both holes in one round. No one to date has been able to match his claim. Shankshaw Ridge is a par 72 at just over 7,400 yards from the back tips, testing players with a variety of golf challenges while giving a richness for nostalgia. Greens will be running at a quick 180 pace with 4 tees and 4 pin sets to add variety. Step back into the past and breathe in that Kentucky air. Its rich history makes playing Shankshaw Ridge a treat every time you step onto the Kentucky bluegrass. Good luck matching Hector's feet. So that's a rich background story. That's all in the designer's own words. And as noted, 4 tees. The shortest red tee is 6,861 yards. Extending back to the gold tee, the tips where we'll play from at 7,412 yards. Just a reminder, we're on TGC Tour's Platinum Tour settings for our rounds, which is Legend Swing difficulty, and we use a default ball, so we'll get a sense of how the course plays on the difficulty played by the best players in the world. And if you enjoyed the showcase, remember to smash that like and subscribe button, and leave a comment to let me know what you think of the course and the round. So we're at Shankshaw Ridge, all set up here. Tips, pin 3, medium winds to the southeast, all defaults, which are firm, fast. Let's get out there. All right. So we've got some snowy mountains in the back here. The Appalachians, according to the lore of this Kentucky course. 472-yard par 4 to start here. Looks like an elevated tee that leads up to an elevated green that almost cancel each other out. See some water just on the right here. I'm sure we'll come across that in the natural course of things, but otherwise, our first look at, we got like a shelter here. In case it starts raining on you or something. All right, let's see what we can do off the tee here. Yeah, pleasure's mine, Troy. And if you're watching on YouTube later, we've got the designer in the chat with us here. Got the designer, have the privilege of the designer retteach in the chat with us here tonight while we're navigating our way around here. So, like we said, got now a big uphill, 168 yards. A little bit into the wind, but it's more about the elevation on this shot. Helping slope on the left and an unhelpful slope on the right of the approach with the pin. Pretty solid strike. Just a matter of settling it down. And okay, we got 180 greens. 12 footer is going to be left to right here. This is one of those ones where you're going to want to be really careful with even a putt like this. Even, you think you're, 12 feet, that's a two putt, but you got to be really careful with spots like this. They can get away from you, and even a percent or two on the strong side of the putting stroke becomes a very, very risky situation. Underswung it probably for the better, but it does result in missing low, so we'll two putt tap in the par there on a tough opening par four, actually. Tricky at least, not anything crazy, but definitely a good par to start the round. They're 434 yards. This one's downhill and it goes over a sort of a ridge. I guess the name of the course would suggest such a thing. Might go choked here just to get her out there. Still give us a wedge in if we hit the fairway. Probably still a wedge if we don't hit the fairway, but you know what I mean. Is there a first cut? I guess that's all for, I guess that, right, and then it trails off. Sort of blends in. I think that's just because of the angle that we're looking at it from, and because the dirt starts. There is, I think, a little strip of heavy between the first cut and the natural area. All right, so 108 in, 60 degrees in our hand, probably fine for this because it's a little bit downhill. And the funny thing is, so we did Fox and Hound. That's, another one of Reteach's mini courses. We opened the series itself with Fox and Hound, actually. Here we are back on episode 16, highlighting a Troy course for a second time. And can you believe it? There's actually been, since Fox and Hound, episode 1, this is the second of the new courses he's published since then. So we've kind of skipped. We haven't really skipped it in other ways, but on the series we've sort of skipped Cypress Head. Cypress, is that what it is? Head? Cypress. And then here we are now on the brand spanking new. I think this was just published yesterday, at least as of the time that this is being recorded. And here we are. What's up, Hawk? Appreciate you coming in. Why? Troy is an absolutely one-man assembly line of a designer. .571 yards.
Looks like it's downhill off the tee and then uphill on the approach. Tough pin. Gonna hazard to say that's probably the trickiest pin that there is on this green that we caught here. You'd think there's a shot to get home in two with a good tee shot, but this fairway is gonna want to try and put this ball in the water. So we're fortunate to play a natural draw here. I'm gonna show my shaping out a little bit to allow that draw to try and come to life. This will be a good test, a good example of what this fairway, how it wants to defend this hole from you getting there in two. And you can see, so that holds, we're on firm greens. You could see if you were playing you could toughen it up and that ball becomes rough, that exact shot. You go very firm, extreme firm, or ultra. And we're talking about a whole different situation right now. Certainly a plausible from 216 here. Still very tricky, don't get me wrong. We're going uphill, but we do have some backboard and we do have some upslope to slow the ball down on the bounce. Doesn't make it an easy shot, but let's give her a rip. Want a full 4-iron here. That 98 is a bit dangerous. We needed that full 100, I think. No trouble though. In fact, we'll be just all right there. Reaching this green under regulation, 24 feet for eagle. First good chance to score here. Yeah, so first birdie on 3 there. Good opportunity. It's still a tricky hole and all the things we were saying about if you toughened it up, but at the way it kind of presents itself if you haven't been able to get to the first or second holes. Bit of an opportunity. There's still tricky hole, but an opportunity as well. 190-yard par 3 over some water. Shouldn't really be in play though. Protected by bunkers. That's that shelter we looked at off of the opening tee. So here we are, 4th hole. Okay, I think this will be a choke up on a 6-iron here. See what we can do with it. Leave ourselves 30 feet for birdie. We'll two-putt the par there. No. Most awful result. 410 yards. Again, these fairways are not really friendly as far as they sort of want to kick you off, but I think on the defaults it's fair. I think on the defaults, I think it's nice. I think it's quite actually how the default firms are basically, the fair, and then if you were to go faster than that, all of a sudden you're going to have some very tricky shots, like even like this one can run off on you on the right hand side if you're not careful. And then on the flip side, on the other side, if you go moderate or soft or something like that, probably it becomes, um, more on the CC side. So one of the hallmarks of strong course design is a course that can play. Um, you can toughen it up or soften it up and make a sort of real tangible difference without being ridiculous about it. These don't seem to be bouncing too hard. I mean, it's a default firm, which is different than the actual setting firm. So I wonder if it's even sort of on the softer side towards moderate, but still defined as firm when the game publishes it. Maybe the designer himself could confirm or deny since he's with us here. Give ourselves 9 feet here. Yeah, designer confirming we're on the more moderate side of firm. Still firm, still firm, still firm as far as within the ranges that the game considers, but when you're course designing, you've got 0 to 100 for your firmness settings, but when it publishes, it gets classified as either soft or moderate or. I had a suspicion these were on the softer side of firm just based on the first few drives that we've hit here that I was concerned about the possibility of the ball running off just even on the firm, but it landed. Yeah, I think fair is the word. Another good example of a ball that could have run off even on a actual firm as opposed to what we are just talking about. 159 yards. We're going up the hill this time. Ooh, little something going on back here. Oh yeah, just a washroom. House. Cool. Nice little house. Can see myself setting up shop there. Yeah. Nice little yeah, Kentucky countryside here. Cool, cool. Pin itself quite accessible, but it's one of those weird ones where you're going uphill and with a tailwind and like you don't know exactly where the ball is going to peak or clear the slope and choke up on an 8-iron here. We've hit it pretty well. It took a larger than expected bounce off of the fringe there, especially considering what we've been talking about. 23 feet. That took a big old bounce off of the, excuse me, fringe. Sort of skidded, but you get that when you're going uphill and with the wind. "208-yard par 3 7th hole." Ooh, what do we got here? What do we have here? Cool. Cool. Beautiful clubhouse patio there. Watching the putting green. You got more seating around this way. Sort of modern looking clubhouse. You can see there's a practice facility. It's a bit in the distance. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get to it, but oh, maybe we can. There we go. Full on practice facility with, like sheltered hitting bays and carts ready to go. And yeah, cool stuff here. Houses. Cool. 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 Very cool stuff. All right. 208 yards. It's downhill a little bit into the wind, which probably isn't a terrible thing. Slow the ball down for us a little bit. Play a 6-iron in there. Feels like a decent play. Ten feet. We'll roll it in for birdie on the par 3 there. Moving to the 8th hole. Eighth hole's a 556-yard par 5. It's a little bit uphill, downhill on the tee shot, back up to the green. We got 225 yards to get home on the par 5 in 2. Distance not the concern. We're going back uphill 48 feet. Gonna hit a 3-iron here. Yeah, we're right on up there. We're gonna have our second look at eagle with a putter in our hand. Not a huge amount of movement, but it's 43 feet, so maybe just gentle right at the beginning, gentle left. Is it more one than the other? That's the question. We put birdie though. That's our 4th through 8. 4 birdies, 4 pars, heading to the 9th hole, which is a 385-yard par 4. It'll certainly cut some distance down if you're willing to risk the smaller landing area. I think this might be a situation where we're going to benefit both from laying back on the tee shot and then also giving ourselves a fuller number in. Hit 3 wood here off the tee. leaving us 116. That was the idea. It doesn't make it a lot easier though, and you know what? It's one of those ones where you don't want to, like, even if you're hitting a lob wedge or something or a 60 degree, you'd be having to concern yourself with not actually rolling it all the way back off the green as well. That red slope helps, but it can also do damage if you're not careful with it. I hit a choked 50 degree here. Squeeze it a little. Leaves it below the hole, 14 feet. Probably would have wanted better proximity, but it's a decent look. Just safe shot to round out our front nine here. Yeah, no problem. So we're out in 5 with 5 birdies, 4 pars. Going to take a quick second here at the turn, and we'll be right back on the 10th tee. All right, here we are on the 10th tee. I realized after we got caught up analyzing our approach on 9 that I wanted to take a look. Actually, maybe we can just turn around and not at this, although this is neat too. Got some probably maintenance sheds. Um, but on the 9th approach, I was spotting some parking lot and clubhouse type stuff going on. There it is. Oh yeah, there it is, right there. That's what I wanted to look at. Beautiful parking lot, maybe one of the most beautiful parking lots I've ever seen. Very nice. Birdie on 10 there. Got caught up looking at the clubhouse and everything around it. Got a little shelter here going on 11. Good place if the skies open up and you're just looking for a spot to just wait it out. Got a few spots around the course to do so. 140 yards. Certainly don't want to test it on the left too much. A little bit of a pull, but nothing that's going to get us in any trouble. In fact, didn't miss going in the hole by too much at all. Birdie on 11. Yeah, that was a close one, wasn't it? 7 through 11. Coming to 12 here. 295 yards. Okay. It's uphill. And there's opportunity here, but not without its risks, of course. Down here, you're going to have a tough shot even if you're in the fairway. There's a bunker protecting. If you come up short left, then you're in even worse trouble, arguably. Although, for this pin, more green to work with. But, you know, we hit these shots. We try these shots, you know, when we're playing these rounds out here. So, let's give her a rip. Not convinced we even need a full shot here. Choking up on a driver. It's uphill. And in a perfect world, it's a tough shot to pull off, but we're going to work this ball off the tee a little bit left to right, so it sort of doesn't get too dominated by that right to left green area. We are putting from 36 feet. Downhill with left to right. The drive and a putt. And we're in with our eagle on 12. $580 yard par 5 13th hole. Sheds we were looking at over there. Take a peek when we're finished up here, Brad. 271 yards. We're in the sand. I think we might want to be realistic about this and understand that we're probably not getting home in 2 here. So we take that and accept it, and we just want to leave ourselves the best possibility to make our 4. 112 yards on our third shot on the par 5, uphill into the wind. Choke up on a 50 and maybe even lay off it a little. Shape. This one has promise. All right, 454-yard par 4. You can see the options before you. It's quite an elevated tee. So we're going to get a lot of distance here. So that bunker is quite a bit closer. That center cut bunker is a lot closer than it looks, and the options are obvious. You can go left and have a shorter approach, but a trickier tee shot, or you can play with the wider fairway, but a longer approach. We're going to try the power drive on the shorter side, and because we're delusional, we're going to tell ourselves that even if we miss right, we're going to put enough on this to clear that center bunker. And that'll do quite fine. 86 yards. Probably didn't even need all that yardage. Gonna have to partial a 60 now. Thank you, Troy. Gonna have to partial a 60 now. Excuse me. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Nice view coming back here at presumably the 15th green that we're about to come to. Showing off the water and then turning around, showing the land. Yeah. 456 yards. Bit of a narrow one and obvious hazard on the right-hand side. Sand on the left. This hole really just asks you to hit your shot. It's not asking for big distance. It's asking you to hit the fairway. Distance helps. It's not a short hole, 456 yards, so it's not like you can lay way back on it, but key on that one is just keeping her in play and ideally on the fairway. 123 yards, looks like a full 50 degree will be good here. Yeet coming in, dropping his 90 streak in here. That's crazy. Appreciate you coming in. Gonna leave ourselves 8 feet here. Nice little run since that 7th hole. 2 pars that started the round, but really locked in ever since then. Exclamation mark with the eagle on the par 4. This is 247 yards. Downhill. This one's into the wind. Trickiness of the hole itself aside, beautiful green spot beside the water here. 247 yards downhill. I think 3 iron's going to end up being the play one way or another. This particular pin is tough to get at, especially though we do play a natural draw shake. That'll help us. That's a trick. That pin in particular is tough to get at. That's the tough pin. Sure is. That's the designer himself saying that. 22 feet for par. So we're going to drop our first shot of the round after pointing out that run we were on. First drop shot. And that pin's tough because it's right in that zone where you don't want to go long, so you leave it short, and yet you don't want to leave it short, so you go long in some way, even though we didn't actually get up and down, in some way. Leaving the ball on the par 3 where we did is actually, if you were in the heavy rough but on the short side of that pin, it would be a very difficult, because you're still coming down that slope. So that's a real darned if you do and darned if you don't kind of pin. You just gotta either be very, very precise in your shot or just catch a break that it just sort of gets that perfect dribble over the ridge. All right. 17th hole, par 4, 443 yards uphill, which concerns me because I'm not actually sure that this is down. I don't think we carry this bunker. Certainly it's not worth the risk when we can actually just play back with a regular driver. And we'll probably end up in that bunker anyway. Well, stayed out. 143 yards uphill. $34 feet. Birdie. Heading to our final hole. 622-yard par 5. Got a lot of room on the right, but you sure as heck don't want to miss left. What? We're going to try and cut this hole down by as much as possible. That 3-degree closed is probably... Well, we might get some extra yardage if we can catch a rock. No. That was wishful. So, that's alright. We'll just actually, you know... You end up just playing it as a 3-shotter anyway, so... Wouldn't say it's what we're trying to do, but... I think we'll be alright. I think we'll sort it out. You know I could be just like you. 149 yards on the approach. Birdie still very much alive, despite where we were off of that tee shot. Gotta hit a good shot in here, though. Stay left of the pin, but no trouble. It's going to provide 16 feet for birdie. Which we do convert. We'll take a look at the scorecard here. Lots of fun out there, Troy. Beautiful golf course, as we've come to get used to. On your publishes. Take a look at the scorecard here. We were out in 5 under with 5 birdies. We came in 7, and in a far more eventful way, we had an eagle and a bogey. Actually only had 1 par on the entire back 9. At the end of the day, 12 under 60. Watching another edition of Inside the Ropes, a deeply personal journey with Scottie Walnuts. If you enjoyed the show, remember to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment to let me know what you thought about the round. Remember, we're live most evenings on Twitch with golf and sometimes other sport and story games, and we film these episodes in front of a live studio audience on Twitch every Tuesday night. Link in the description. TM high, and let 'em fly.